Kia Hyundai channel. Welcome to our live video series. Today we're going to talk about the 2022 Kia Rio. Tomorrow we're going to bring the Ioniq 5 in here with the Santa Fe PHEV, and on Wednesday we are going to talk about the top Hyundai of 2022. So if you've never joined us before on a live video, we do this every single weekday at 2 o'clock Eastern time, and we allow our live audience to build for the first 3 minutes or so. So if you're not live with us and you just want to get to the content of this video, you can jump ahead to the 3-minute mark and watch from there. In the meantime, I'll show you how to join us live. We'll also talk about some news and some notes, and we'll jump into the video at the 3-minute mark. So if you're regular with us, make sure you hit the like button, but let's jump in here. All right. If you want to join us live, you go to our YouTube channel at exactly 2 o'clock, which is going to change right now. There you go, 2 o'clock right there. And if you refresh this page, you'll see we have a sort of placeholder video right there right now. If you refresh this page at exactly 2 o'clock, that placeholder video gets replaced by our live video. We're going to click into that, and you're probably going to have to watch an ad. Is it something we should make fun of? Hey, Bill Clinton's on there. I've met Bill Clinton. Long story for another time. All right, so we're going to skip that ad. Whatever Bill Clinton had to say, we skipped him. Anyways, so what we're going to do today, I have to run the ad for us. If you are in Ontario and you're looking to buy a car, you can buy one from Brantford Kia, Owen Sound Hyundai, or Brantford Hyundai. I'm struggling here because I'm about to tell you something that's kind of funny. Those are the 3 dealers that support this channel, and if you're in Ontario, we can treat you like family. You can reach out to me in a link that will be up in the description of this video when we're done, and if you click that link, I'll connect you with our team, and that'll be how it goes. All right, for the 25 or so people that are on right now, apparently I've been informed that my kids are watching today, so I've informed them not to comment, but yeah, my kids are watching, so that'll be a fun one to see how long I can keep their attention on video, because I know how long I can keep their attention in person. It's not that long. All right, Merry Christmas from some of the regulars, so thanks for that. Next, this week, like we mentioned, Ioniq 5 versus Santa Fe PHEV tomorrow. I think that'll be an interesting one because these are 2 new vehicles, both of which are very good for fuel efficiency, very good for environmental friendliness as far as tailpipe emissions, but they're both different. They're similarly priced, so we're going to compare what might be best for you, and it's another excuse to have the Ioniq 5 back here, which of course is a pretty special new car. So we'll do that tomorrow. The top Hyundai of 2022 will be, or 2021, excuse me, will be on Wednesday, and that'll be our last video this week. But don't worry, because in January, we're going to continue doing what we're doing, but we're also going to add a test drive feature to this. So I'm going to take some of the cars that you guys love the most out on a test drive. We're going to do the same loop every time. We're going to talk about how different cars react in different ways. And then, of course, we'll still do stuff in studio here. So we have a lot more planned for 2022. So make sure you stay tuned. And again, if you're a regular with us, make sure you hit the like button right now. We're just about to start the video. If you're not a regular with us, I'll try to earn your like at some point throughout this video. So 4, 3, 2, 1, here we go. All right. Somebody said Merry Christmas. Hello. All right, here we go. 3 minutes into the video. This is the Kia Rio. It is the forgotten car in the Kia lineup. And I really mean forgotten car, because if we look at Kia Canada's website, they're probably all at home right now, so we're good. If we go look at Kia Canada's website, you cannot choose the 2022 Kia Rio. You can only choose the 2021, which is odd because we've had the 2022 Kia Rio for quite some time now. We've actually done it on video in the past. So, yeah. That's just interesting. Kia Canada, remember, you still sell the Rio. You got to update your website. Anyway, so this one is a little bit off on price. The one we're looking at today is $18,595. This one's $18,495, but this still gives you an idea of what we've got. So we've got an LX Plus manual transmission. That's the only way to get it in a manual transmission. Then we've got the LX Plus, the LX Premium, and, where are we here? There we go. There's the port. EX Premium as well. So today we're looking at the LX Plus model, 120 horsepower. It is an automatic transmission with a new IVT. Now, if you've looked at this car before, it used to have sort of the 6-speed automatic regular transmission in the past. The IVT on economy cars, so that is a CVT from Kia. On economy cars, it does a great job of making these cars much better driving, and they also get really, really good fuel efficiency. So when I say on this, that's a true economy car, that was the title of this video, you're gonna see the numbers here of 7.2 and 6 liters per 100 kilometers. I drove this back from compound the other day, fresh off the factory, essentially, and I put about 30, 40 kilometers on the thing, and I had 5.6 liters per 100 kilometers. The best part is I wasn't even trying to get great fuel efficiency. This is a car that's just an honest, efficient car. It doesn't use hybrid technology or crazy, battery technology of any kind. It's just small, it's lightweight for what it is, and it has a really good engine transmission combination that makes it feel fun to drive, but also gets you great fuel efficiency. And since my kids are watching today, this is the kind of car that would be a great first car for them. Now, they're a little young to drive. They're 9 and 10. So if I catch them driving this, they're in big trouble. But the reality is that this is a great first car. It's a great, college kids car. It's also a great second vehicle for a family that doesn't always have to take a bunch of larger people out everywhere. And it's actually fun to drive. And part of that is just the size of it. You've got a long wheelbase. You can see the rear wheels are right out to the edge of the car. So it gives you the ride of a longer vehicle. You can see that a lot of cars, the wheels kind of come in a little bit more and you got more overhang on the rear end. But that long wheelbase gives you the ride of a longer car and makes it a little bit more efficient overall. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump out, take the key here for a second, which I believe is right here, there we go. And we'll dig into this car in just 1 second. All right, so here is the key. Now, 2022, there you go. There's the big advantage of this key, the new logo. And that's it. It is still a keyed car. It is a jackknife style key, so you can just keep that. If I can do this with my left hand, there we go. You can keep just the fob in your pocket. Now, a little bit tricky on the key fob here, so let's just explain it really quickly. That is your lock button, the unlock button there, and the hold to open. Now, on a lot of our sedans, it doesn't actually say hold to open, but a lot of people think it does. And you can see the picture in that is a sedan. If you had a sedan, you could hold this button and the trunk would release. On a hatchback, all it does is unlock just the trunk. So the unlock button unlocks all the doors, but the unlock button on the trunk, or the hold button there, unlocks just the trunk. The reason I caution you about that one is this is not the proximity key. If you were to unlock just the trunk and drop the keys in the trunk and slam the trunk shut, your keys would be locked in the car. So, little word of advice from me, I recommend you always hit the unlock button to unlock all the doors before you go in the trunk, and that just makes it a little easier. So coming around here, let's just show you the actual price of this car. Like we said, $18,595 for 2022. And not a lot of features on this car. You can get this car with a sunroof. You can get this car with fancy alloy wheels. You can get it with different lighting out front and a whole bunch of different things. But again, when we talk about an economy car, it should be economical, not just in fuel, but in everything else as well. So if you look at the tires with the wheel covers on them, if you were to swap those out for winter tires, it doesn't cost you a whole lot to stay at the stock size. And you can throw these hubcaps back on and have the same look as you would have. But 15-inch wheels, they don't cost, and tires, they don't cost a lot right now. So these are Continental tires. They're not cheapy, no-brand tires. 185, 65 R15. They are not huge tires, but those used to be the tire size of one class up. 185, 65, 15 used to be the tires you would have on the compact class, not the subcompact class. So you do have some advantages here that sort of evolution-wise work its way into this class of car that you wouldn't have seen before. Let's jump in, take a look, and you have a lot of nice things in here that you don't see as well. So again, no powered seat. We're not trying to pretend like we're something we're not here, but you do have a manual height adjustment here. So you can push this down and it comes up. You can pull it up, pull it up and goes up, push it down and it goes down. So you do have a height adjustment there. This particular car is only tilt wheel. You can get tilt and telescopic in the higher trim lines, but this one's just a tilt wheel. It's one thing I wish they would add to this trim because we know the car can do it. It's just that they didn't add it. But I still think you're going to find that most people will fit perfectly fine. And keep in mind, before this, these cars that came out now with a telescopic, a lot of cars only had tilt anyways, and we all fit just fine. You can see I'm about a 6-footer. Let's crank the seat right down, actually. So if I go all the way down, I've got a ton of headroom here. But now let's have some fun and let's go all the way up. Because if you're a shorter driver and you have a smaller car, and I'm not helpful in here because I'm 6 feet tall, if you make it taller and taller and taller, which we're still pumping it up higher and higher. I can see the hood quite easily now, but you can see my head's about to hit the ceiling and I can fit just my fingers through here. And that's with the seat all the way back. Of course, I can move it forward. Well, I can't even move it forward because I'm afraid I'm gonna hit my head. And I'm literally on the ceiling. So whether you are short or tall, or if you share this car with someone, it is a car that fits a lot of people in a lot of different ways. And I think that's really important. Highest Rio trim or base Forte 5? You know what? We'll talk about that in a second. That's a good question. So that's actually a great question. So we'll keep going through here. Let's just put the key in the ignition, and it is a true ignition. It's not a push button start on this trim line. So turn it in. We're going to turn it to the accessory mode, or the on position past the accessory mode, but we're not going to turn the car fully on. We're going to turn the climate system off because it's blowing cold air at me. Inside here, again, depending on the trim level, you're going to see different things. So you can see the fuel efficiency, 6.6 liters per 100 kilometers, and that's after 64 kilometers. I only put about 34 or so on this. So you can see, again, I was in the 5.6 range, they're at the 6.6, and we've been driving in cold weather with snow, so not efficient times, and dealership cars always have poor fuel efficiency because we idle them, we warm them up for customers, that kind of thing. People sit there inside and idle them as well. So when you see 6.6 at a dealership lot, that's really good fuel efficiency. So left side tach, right side speedometer, left side temperature gauge, right side fuel gauge, easy to read stuff. Now the higher trim levels do have an upgraded proper display screen that looks a lot closer to the display screen on your phone. Obviously this one is a little bit dated, but dated is less expensive, and it still gives you quite a bit of information in here. So trip computer here, we saw the range, we saw our trip computer there. Trip A, trip B, speed off. You can have a digital speedometer in here if you want, and that's about it in there. So again, gives you the basics, gives you good information, nothing you really don't need. And you can also see that there is a bar graph here. When I drive, it'll fill in that bar graph as an instant fuel efficiency, while you can read the average right there. 12 degrees Celsius, it says. It's actually a little bit warmer in my video bay, but cooler under the hood because it was outside. So again, a lot of the information you need. Now here's one thing that they've upgraded in this car. You cannot get this feature in the top line Kia Telluride or any Kia Telluride for that matter. This is one thing that Kia and Hyundai do a little bit weird right now. This is the 8-inch screen. It's a really crystal clear display screen. If I throw it in reverse, you can see it's got a nice clear backup camera. Oh, it's not. I got to wipe that camera. We'll come back and do that demonstration later. But the thing that you can't get in the Telluride right now, or any Kia Stinger, is this one has wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So it says start connecting Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, press this widget. In the other cars with the 10.25 inch screen, so a little bit bigger screen, you only get the wired connection, and I don't know why it is, but the smaller screen can have it, the larger screens can't, since the Rio only comes with a smaller screen. It was actually the first car that we had, and every trim line gets wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay. And if you look at who's buying this car, potentially younger people, commuters, that kind of thing, having that wireless connection is great because you can sit there and pull up your Google Maps, your Apple Maps, or Waze, or some other navigation thing wirelessly, and it feels like it's just built right into here, which is really cool. And of course, you can work your text messages a little bit easier, some of your podcasts, those kind of things. You can just pull it up into there. And again, having that wireless connection is a real benefit. Overall, you haven't got a whole lot of fancy software in here. You've got AM, FM, but you do have HD radio as well that can make it a little bit clearer. It is a 6-speaker system in this car, not a 4-speaker. So in this class, that's, you know, class leading-ish. It's not fancy. It's not super high-end or anything, but it gives you all the information you need. If we go in through here for the all menus, this is one thing where I find that the software of the higher cars works its way in here. This is quiet mode. Quiet mode, let's just tap it for a second. I think it's funny that it's in this car. When quiet mode is selected, the radio or media is played only in the front seats. All the volume levels above 7 will be decreased to 7 automatically. So basically it mutes your rear speakers and moves all your music to the front. Now, in a car like the Telluride or the Kia Carnival, where you have 3 rows of passengers, maybe your rear passengers are listening to the music in their earbuds, or they're podcasting their earbuds, or maybe you have a baby sleeping back there. Turning the speakers off back there does make it a little bit quieter back there, and you can still listen to your music up front, and you can turn it higher than 7 if you want. But this isn't a big car. Turning off the rear speakers isn't going to make a whole lot of difference to people in the rear. So I find it funny, but it just, again, it shows you that you're getting the higher end software that you would have in some of the higher end vehicles like the Telluride, like some of those other things. You can leave yourself a voice memo, but we're not going to do that because we're going to do that from our phone, because when you leave it on your phone, you'll remember it. When you leave it in here, 10 years later, when you sell this car, somebody's going to have your voice 10 years ago because you'll have forgotten that it's there. So we got the radio, the setup here. Let's just see if there's anything in here that's worth talking about. Pretty much basic stuff in here. Device connections, the sound. We'll see if there's any sound connections. Yeah, so same things. You can move this position of the sound so you can make it sound like it's coming from somewhere else in the car. The tuning, you got your oh boy, what's that called again? Treble, bass, and mid-range. You guys will remind me in a second. Parking safety priority. So basically, parking assist is active, but there's no parking beepers, so this doesn't matter. And then system volumes. This is kind of a helpful thing. You can change the startup volume limit. If you're the kind of person that comes home with your volume too loud every time, and then you get in the morning and scare yourself because the volume's so loud, you can set that up to just lower the volume when you start up the car when you get there. So again, a lot of good information in here, a lot of good, easy to read information, and the more important thing is a really clear screen to see everything. Backup camera showed you, but backup camera's not fancy. It is standard on every car. Coming down here, again, nothing too fancy. You've seen these dials for 20, 30 years or more, but they're very easy to use. You've got air conditioning right here. You've got your rear defrost right there. One thing that's good to know is rear defrost does control the side view mirrors heating. So I'm 99% sure this car still has the side view mirrors heated as well, but there's no button for them like in some other cars. So you just turn on that and you get your side view mirrors defrosting. This is your fan speed, multiple levels, not just 4 levels. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 levels of fan speed. A lot of cars used to only have 4, so you've got some variety there just to keep it going where you need to. And then, of course, you can direct the air there. And, of course, the vents, every single one can be opened or closed. So not, a lot of these small economy cars, they can't all be opened or closed. You can easily do that here. Jumping in here, this is a space to put your phone. It is a sort of rubbery type grippy area, so you can put your phone there. On this particular car, it's not a wireless charge pad. Some cars would have that. This car does not. 12-volt port and a single USB. They don't give you any more than that, but that's probably all you need right now. And then, of course, down here, this is more plasticky, but that is a space to put all your stuff. Get my gear shift out of the way. One of my favorite features of this car, rump roasters. Really nice to have rump roasters. You move one trim up and you get a steering wheel heater as well. Rump roasters are really, really good in the Rio. Like, I'm already feeling them in this car. The cloth seats in this car, I don't know what it is. I don't know if they put the seat element a little closer to where you are, but they warm up really quickly and they stay really, really hot. So again, if you're comparing a used car to maybe this car, the wireless Android Auto, the wireless Apple CarPlay, the rump roasters in here, the extra drive mode here for sport mode or not sport mode is nice to have. And then you do have in this automatic transmission, you can tap it this way and switch through 8 gear ratios if you wanted to by choosing up a gear or down a gear, or you just leave it in drive and let the car figure it out on its own, which is what I would do. Coming just across quickly to this steering wheel here before we go take your questions, you do have cruise control in the LX Plus. A lot of these smaller cars never used to have cruise control. Even if you buy like a new Ford Maverick, it doesn't come standard with cruise control. So that's kind of an interesting thing. That Ford Maverick pickup is their new small car replacement. So you do have cruise control here, and then of course all the steering wheel controls that you would want. You can activate Siri up here if you have an iPhone. You can switch through the modes of the radio, volume. You can press this into mute, or you can turn the volume up or down right there. You can switch your tracks, or if you have maybe if you have Apple Music playing or something like that, you can switch the tracks that way as well. And your phone is right there as well. Power windows, power locks, power mirrors, all the stuff you would expect. So here's what's going on. Usually, let's say we have 57 people on. I think we can get to 50 likes today. So we've got 26 so far. So here's the thing. If we all like this together, we'll probably get a few more people joining us. So let's just do this together. 4, 3, 2, 1. Everybody hit the like button right now. I'm going to go answer your questions. We're going to come back and look at the rear seat, the trunk space. We'll talk about some of the other features of this car in just 1 second. But let's go see what we've got. All right, we're going for 50 likes. So some of you, I get it. You're holding out right now. It's a Rio. I don't impress you that much. The car doesn't impress you that much. Well, like I said, my kids are watching, so my wife can probably hear this. I don't impress her that much either, but you know what she does? She likes me. And that's all I ask from you as well. All right, go to your questions right here. Bunch of people on here. Merry Christmas from a few people. Really considering the Rio hatch as your next purchase. Great little car. A lot of time it's overlooked, including by Kia Canada, because they haven't updated their website yet. But I don't think it should be. A lot of people sort of see the Forte as a similarly priced, and that's kind of how a salesperson thinks, right? The Forte is similarly priced, and that's a better car. Well, it may not be better for you, but certainly you could test drive the Rio and the Forte and decide which one's better for you. I will say that there's a fun to drive element, easy to park. It's a simple car. Like right now I have a Santa Cruz. The Santa Cruz is easy to park because it has a 360 camera. The visibility out the back is terrible. Out the front it's fine. But I wouldn't be able to park that without a 360 camera. This car, it has a backup camera, which is nice, and it's a really good one. But you don't need it to park this car. So there we go. All right. This or the Soul base is my question. So this or the Soul or this or the Forte, we'll get to those in a second. That's a good question to have. We'll answer those in a second. Let me just keep going through here. We'll answer those questions closer to the end of this video. Very peppy feeling, by the way. The transmission gives lots of torque at low RPM. It feels more powerful than it actually is. So this is that thing with that new transmission, that IVT. It's not really that new anymore, but it was put in this car sort of mid-life cycle. The regular transmission, you could really feel the shifts, right? And it was fine. It was a typical transmission for a car in this class. And at the time, it was a good transmission. But the new transmission really smooths things out, and because it has a wider ratio, so the 6 gears used to kind of be in here, now it's got a wider ratio, and what that means is it has more pickup off the line. It feels a little more peppy off the start, but it also gives you more fuel efficiency at the top end on the highway. So it's just a better transmission overall. It's very smooth. It doesn't actually have gears, which I could explain in a whole other video, but it makes for a very smooth shifting experience, and it simulates gear shifts because that's what people are used to feeling. So in the summer on a trip from Owen Sound to Hamilton, I got 5.4 liters per 100 kilometers. So there you go, 5.4 liters. All right. Are the software available for 2022 models or older? No, that's a great question. So the 2020 models are old. So the previous software to this in the 2020 and older versions, you can't upgrade that. They had a different hardware type system, and you can't upgrade to this software. So it is a reason to consider trading up if that's the car you like, but you want to get some of this software. That's a great point. All right, my mom owns a 2018 Kia Rio sedan, bought from some other dealer that I can't mention here. Base model, heated steering wheel, heated seats. Yeah, so it used to have on the base model heated steering wheel as well. Now you got to move up a little bit to get that heated steering wheel, which I'm okay with. I think not everybody wants that. Somebody says no sounds of nature. We did a sounds of nature video just the other day. You can look that up in the worst features of Kia Hyundai vehicles. So you should watch that. It's worth your time. There we go. Backup camera became law in 2018, so very handy for me. Yeah. So yeah, backup camera's law, it's not required. I am gonna give a quick wipe to the camera here because we should clear that, and then we're gonna jump in the back seat. We'll show you the camera first though. So camera's easy to find here. Sometimes you just gotta give these things a quick wipe, and then you'll see, let's just show you the backup camera while we're here. And then we'll jump in again and show you the backup camera just because I usually like to show that. Fancy Kia logo coming up there. Looks pretty sharp. Like I said, this is the software you would get on a higher end vehicle, the top end. They don't cut you any, they don't make a discount, or they don't simplify it just for this car. All right, so we're gonna go to reverse for a second. When we go to reverse, oh, I didn't wipe it very well, but you can see that backup camera pretty clear. You can see every line in the floor there, and it's very wide angle, which is really nice because let's face it, once we have a backup camera, sometimes we forget to check the full width of this car to see what's going on, and you have the option to see that. Let's just see if there's any features in here. Yeah, you can just change the brightness and the contrast there. So there are some ways you can customize it if you're having trouble seeing perfectly in there, but we're gonna put it back in park and go from there. All right, let's jump out here of this seat. Now again, I did adjust this seat to where I would need to be. If you don't believe me, some people think I like to cheat the thing. I like to do the things where I'm comfortable every time. So this is where I would drive the car. You know, I could probably move it actually a hair forward. We'll leave it to a hair too far back. Let's jump in the back seat now and we'll show you the rear seat space. And to be fair, this is the reason why you would go for a Forte over the Rio. The Rio does not have as much rear seat space as the Forte does. Throwing some floor mats on the ground. So let's take a look back here. Power windows in the rear as well. Cloth seats. Now, I like to see the plastic back seats in most of our cars. The difference with plastic back seats is you can wipe them down. The Forte has plastic back seats that can be wiped down with a wet cloth or damp cloth and keep them clean. These are cloth back seats, and I'll show you why they stick with cloth seats in this when I jump in the car. Right here. So easy to get in. Headroom is great. You can see knee room. Me as a 6-footer sitting behind myself, I've got just enough room. So let's be fair. My Santa Cruz only has a little bit more room than this Rio as far as knee room space. Down here, there's no armrest, so your guests are sitting here without an armrest, but my legs are pretty flush on the seat. A little bit raised, but pretty much flush. Now, the reason this is cloth backed is if I was taller, I could put my knees into that seat, and if it was hard plastic, I wouldn't be able to squeak out that extra inch of room. So, would I sit back here for an hour? Yes. Hour and a half? Maybe. 2 hours? Yeah, this isn't the best car for that. And if the driver is above 6 feet and the passenger that has to sit behind them is also above 6 feet, then you're gonna run out of space in this car. But for a 6-footer to a 6-footer, for short trips around town, college kids, whatever, this car works. And again, no tricks to get great fuel efficiency, you just drive it, you have fun with it. And it is fun to drive. I should point out one extra thing that I didn't point out. There is an extra USB port down there. That's what that red light is. That is a USB port there. There's no door or cover on it, but that's the only thing you get in addition to bottle holders in the door. So you have a little bit of a bottle holder there. This seat is back way too far. It does have a pocket here on the passenger side only, but that seat is, again, way too far to be comfortable. And yeah, so hopping in and out of the car, again, easy to do. It's a pretty good size. It's not a massive door. We do have a little bit bigger doors than other vehicles, but again, pretty easy to get in and out of. And it comes back a long ways here. So if you were securing a child seat in there, you've got some space. It doesn't cut you any short. It doesn't cut you short there. It gives you all the space you need. Looking at the trunk here, simple touch button to open it up. Very deep trunk. and you have the cargo cover here. So this cargo cover can be easily removed and you can fold down the seats. One benefit of a hatchback style design is if you were to buy something large from the store, you can fold all the seats down and you have a large opening, whereas a hatchback or a sedan usually has a smaller opening. So do loyal Hyundai hatchback owners buy the Ioniq Hybrid or move to Kia? Oh, I don't care. It's, do whatever you want. Either one's good with me. All right, so we do my teddy bear test here. Now, if you have a Kia Soul, like I do, you're gonna notice that teddy bear fits similarly in there, but there are some differences. So teddy bear in a Kia Soul, his body is against the back and his hand is out here. He looks very similar in this car. I will say the Soul is just a little bit longer. So if you're thinking about Rio or Soul, you're gonna have a little bit more space there. And the Soul is also a little bit wider in the cargo area. That being said, there are all kinds of people that have no trouble fitting all their camping gear for a weekend in here. You buy some roof racks and throw some bikes up top and you can hang out with that. A little car like this can be an everything car for a lot of people. This is plenty of trunk space for most people, especially people who understand what they're buying. If you do have child seats, you can see the child anchors in all 3 seating positions. So you don't always get that in some of these smaller cars. And then there's a little space over here, maybe a first aid kit or a little safety kit, something like that. Something you want to keep at hand, you can put up there as well. So there's also a little grocery bag hook right there. So if you're going to the grocery bags or going to the grocery store and you buy some oranges or something like that, you don't want them rolling around the car, you can hang the bag up there. And there's the same thing over on this side here, just a little extra something. And of course you have it lit back here as well. All right, so that's the trunk, the rear seat. Let's go look at the lighting for a second. There is a difference to the lighting in some of these cars. The higher end trims do have an LED light bar across. This is the standard lighting. It is fine. It is not our top end lighting, and to be honest, it's the one slight compromise. It may not matter to most of you. These lights, like I said, totally fine. They were the standard, 10 years ago, but that's the thing. 10 years have passed and there is better lighting now. I always like LED lighting, and it may be a reason to move to the Forte or something else that gets a little better. These are not projector beam or anything else. They will be inexpensive to replace if you get in an accident. They are much less expensive to replace than something like an LED lighting. But you can see fairly bright, fairly sharp cutoff, but they're not quite as precise as the projector beams and not quite as bright as the LED, but they work fine. And again, if you're gonna run into something or nudge something, these are the headlights to do it with. Not that that's the way you should sell a car, but it is what it is. Coming out back, there is the antenna up there. So again, no shark fin antenna. People like shark fin antennas, but here's the thing. This piece, pretty easy to replace if you nudge it. This piece, not so much, but shark fin antenna, a little bit cheaper to replace. The higher end trims will have different lights back here as well, but again, same thing, standard bulbs, cheap to replace. And again, when we talk about an economy car, everything on this car is less expensive to replace than some of the other higher end cars. So that is your basic review of this car. We're gonna go back and take some questions. Now here's the thing, you guys kind of committed to me. I mean, you didn't, but you kind of did. Let's try to get to 50 likes, we're hit 48. So if my 2 kids are watching and you haven't liked it yet, guys, now's your time to like it. If you have liked it, don't erase your like. But I feel like we could hit 50 likes, we hit 48. I'm gonna go back, take your questions again here. We'll see what we've got. Is the back seat level when you put it down? With the floor, no. We'll show you that right now. You know what, why don't we just quickly show you that quickly. Flip it around here. It's pretty easy to fold these seats down. So we'll just do the one side. Oh, the seat belts are still done up there. I'm gonna put the headrest a little tighter. Fold the seat down, so there is a step up here. You can see it does fold, even with me as a 6-footer, even with the headrest in place, it still folds down there, which again, not every small car has. Some of them you have to take out the headrests, but you can see there is a step up there. That's just to give you extra floor space down here. And I should probably point out that there's a lot of space down here. This is an inflator kit system. You can, if you want, buy as an accessory a spare tire kit. The first 5 years of ownership, you do have unlimited kilometer roadside assistance, but you do have a ton of space down there without the tire to load up extra camping gear and other stuff. So that is pretty cool as far as that space. But yeah, there you go. You do have a step up in the seat there. Let's keep taking questions here. See what we can do. So you guys thought it'd be impossible to do a video on a base car for half an hour, but here we are. All right, how's the safety ratings? Actually, I don't have current safety ratings for this car. So let's keep in mind what's changed in 2022. 2022, even a lot of modern cars with good headlights will not get this top safety pick plus. Santa Cruz that I drive is a good example. Because I have the LED lights, those headlights matter in getting it the top possible rating. These headlights, they won't get the top possible rating. But when you talk about safety in a fully modern car, it's crash avoidance and all those kinds of things as well. So lane keeping assist, lane follow assist, this car doesn't have those things. Autonomous emergency braking out front doesn't have that either. The higher trim levels do have that. But I will say that when this car came out, it was a class leader as far as actual crash safety. When you crashed in this small car, it was the safest small car when it came out. Now, crash safety standards have changed since about 2016 when this body style was introduced. And that's why it won't get the top safety pick plus anymore. And that's because a lot of crash safety today, at least in the ratings, relates to crash avoidance as much as it does the actual vehicle crumpling and that kind of thing. So it is a fairly safe car for what it is. Is this a manual or can you get one? Yeah, there's an LX Plus manual. This one happens to be an automatic. Bluntly, the automatic's a better car. It's going to get better fuel efficiency than the manual. It does cost a little bit more though. And I like manual transmissions. I would buy a manual transmission for fun, but the automatic is now better. It used to be you bought a manual transmission to get better fuel efficiency, and that's not the case anymore. So that's just something to keep in mind. You can get the same exact car as this one with a manual transmission. All right, is there pricing to renew the mobile app? If this car had the mobile app, yes, but this car doesn't have the mobile app. Right now it's free, so we'll leave that for another car. Somebody says LED lights are a must. You can get better lighting on this car. You have to move up some trim levels. Somebody has a 1.4. How do you get the mirrors to fold? Oh, in South Africa? I'm not sure. You're asking me about your car in South Africa? You may have to check with your local dealer. I'm not sure because our mirrors don't fold. They're manual mirrors. They don't fold in by power. All right. Can you try making a video of you comparing a 2016 Kia Rio to a 2022 Kia Rio? I would love to, but we have an inventory shortage right now. It's lucky that I even have a Rio in stock, a 2022 Rio. I don't mind showing you, I like sometimes showing the older, newer cars, and we'll probably continue to do that in the new year, some of the old versus new. Some of the logical upgrade cars, I want to try to do some videos like that. I had meant to do that this year, but with our inventory shortage, between the amount of used cars we are able to keep in stock and new cars, we haven't always been able to have some of those things. So I will continue to try to compare a logical car that you've had to the logical upgrade, but that's just been tough to do this year with that inventory shortage literally all year round. All right. Is there anything else we got going on? I think I answered most of your questions. If there's a question I missed, feel free to jump in and ask it right away. If not, we'll wrap this up. We hit 56 likes. We still got 61 people on, so we're going to have 300-400 people on this video. If you guys want to hit the like button and throw us past 60, that'd be fun to do as well. And if not, hey, I get it. I understand. Let me just make sure there's nothing that I see that I missed. Hi from Montreal. Hello. All right. Oh yeah. So what do we highest trim of this or the Forte 5? That's a tough call because once you get into the higher trim of this, you're purely searching for options. And some of those features you can get anyways on the Forte. Now the Forte 5 is a little different because that's again a step up again. So if you have the money to step up to a Forte 5, it's an EX level car. For me personally, I might do that. But then you're losing some of the benefits of the smaller size here. It just really depends on what you're thinking of you wanted to do. At this price, at this trim, the one we're looking at today, this LX Plus, I think this is better than the Forte if you're thinking about pricing and that kind of thing. Now, if you want features, then of course the Forte is going to offer you some different features, some more features, and it will have the wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay for 2022, but it didn't have that in 2021, and that was a real advantage of 2021. 2021, the Rio had wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay, where the Forte didn't, and 2022 that's changed. As far as this or the Soul has a couple major advantages. The base level Soul, you sit taller. A lot of people love the seating position of the Soul. It is different. It's unique. And then, of course, you also have a larger rear seat and a little bit larger trunk. So the Soul is essentially larger, but some of that height and that boxiness will cut away from fuel efficiency. It also needs a different engine. It's a 2-liter engine there. This is a 1.6-liter engine, or 1.6. So you do have a little bit differences in fuel efficiency, but it's a larger car with essentially the same features for the most part in the base level Soul. So that just depends on which one you want. So I think we're going to leave it there, guys. So if you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you did, I hope I tried to make a not super exciting car, a car that Kia Canada seems to have forgotten about. Update your website, Kia Canada. But if you've enjoyed this, tomorrow you're going to enjoy even more, because tomorrow we're talking about the latest and the greatest. To be very blunt, this is the opposite of the latest and greatest. This is the oldest technology car we have, and I don't think that bothers this buyer. But tomorrow we're going to talk about the newest possible technology we have. We have the Ioniq 5 here tomorrow. That's a Hyundai vehicle. It is the top electric vehicle that we sell, and it's one of the very best electric vehicles you can buy. And we're going to compare that to a Santa Fe plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. So it's a gas and electric mix that can run on pure electric at, for about 50 kilometers or so if you wanted it to. We're going to compare those two tomorrow. Bluntly, I'm more interested in that video than I am on this one today, but I hope you guys understand that we want to cover every vehicle of every trim for you guys to help you understand it better, and I would happily pull this back in if you guys had more questions. But I know from questions you've been asking, there's a lot more interest in the video tomorrow, so join us tomorrow just to hang out with me. It'll be fun. We'll talk about two cars that are pretty fun, and then Wednesday again, we're going to come back, and this is the last Wednesday in December 2021, and we're going to tell you about the best Hyundai of 2021. We already did the best Kia of 2021, and we'll talk about that coming up soon. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. We hit 68 likes. That was pretty cool. It's fun to do, and we'll see you again tomorrow. So thanks everybody for watching, and have a great afternoon.